How to create soul-aligned packages for your clients if you are a holistic or spiritual business. My name is Eileen Burns. I'm a soul empowerment coach, healer, and spiritual business strategist. I'm owner of the Spiritual Marketing Club, Stress Coach Training, and I also have my site where I have a lot of specialised courses for empaths and healers, eileenburns.co.uk. So one of the things that, often we recognise in a business is, particularly if you have a certain type of business, particularly a service-related business, is how it can be far more cost-effective and financially better to create packages in your businesses rather than maybe just a one-off session. And one of the challenges that sometimes we have is that, particularly if you're maybe a holistic therapist, for example, often holistic therapists have so many modalities under their belt and have trained in so many different things that sometimes they are not really sure how to bundle things together. And sometimes they just, you want to just throw things together or think what might be beneficial for the client, but sometimes that doesn't always work for a variety of reasons. So when you're thinking about any sort of packages, you've got to think what the end result is for the client. It's almost like, a lot of things to do with funnels and things, we should always think about the end and then you work your way back. So when we think about what our client's going to experience, what is that solution that you're helping solve with that package? Now, for example, like coaching packages and things like that, block bookings are a bit different, so you're getting the client to buy a bundle of, for example, maybe 5, 8 or 10 sessions, and they're paying ahead and they get a discount. And that can be really beneficial for many reasons, because what you're doing is, first of all, they're making that commitment to keep going and they get the most out of the session. They're fully committed and they're going to show up. And you've got a good opportunity then to really help support them with particular issues. Also, when a client pays up front, that helps you as a business owner. We all know what it's like to run a business, all the overheads that you have, get advertising costs and other things. So when a client gives you that block booking and pays ahead, it's a healthier way sometimes to run a business. And it means that you've got the money and you've got the commitment. And when it's when look at it, when even sometimes trying to get the client, how much work or advertising you have to spend to get what we call a client or a lead or whatever, it's a healthier way to get them to buy more than one session. Now, if you're a soul-aligned business, you don't want someone buying the wrong thing. It's not just about the money. It's not just about making it easy for you. It's being able to, when you actually create a business that runs better, runs more smoothly and more efficiently, you have more energy, you're not as distracted, and you can really give your clients, a better service. You tend to be more healthier when you're getting the rewards and your business is working and the cash flow is coming through. When people are struggling in business to get that cash flow and they're just booking one-to-ones, it can work out very tedious and a lot of time consuming. But the reality is, if you're creating a soul-aligned business, you're in it from a soul-guided way. You want to, live your business and do things as much as you can from an intuitive way. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't use strategy and you don't use common sense and things that are going to help you structure your business. There can be a fine line between those two aspects. But when you're creating a package, you want to be making sure you're creating a package that is in the interest of your audience. It's not just about you, or just about you throwing in anything that you do and making it look as if it works. It's not about that. You have to create something that is going to do what you say it does for the people that you're selling it to. And this is where the more that you understand yourself, where your gifts are, where your skills are, where your strengths, and who your ideal match for. And the people that are more likely aligned with you and your offerings, it makes things much easier. So, for example, if you run a spa or a therapy clinic and you want to create maybe a package that's a day package or an afternoon package where a client can actually come in for, sometimes it can be a block book of 2, 3, 4, hours, or even a full day and they get a break and whatever. You, again, don't want to just throw anything together. It's about consciously thinking what is going to be best for that client and what is going to flow together and work together in a nice cohesive way. And what you want to think about is what even if a lot of you will be healers, is think about it from an energetic element. What is the end result? What you want to help them experience. Now, archetypes can really be helpful with all these things. When you understand your archetype, you understand where your gifts and your strengths is and where you're more likely to be able to give people results and what they're going to feel out of that package. And for example, the sage archetype can be very different sometimes from the innocent. Now, that doesn't mean that someone can't have both in them, but someone that is very sage is very tends to be very objective and analytical and presents knowledge in a very methodical and broad perspective, where someone that has a strong, for example, innocent archetype, they have a more dreamy, magical, like a childlike perspective, and they can be very optimistic and positive and things like that. But they can live in a dream world sometimes. So that's two, in many ways, can be conflicting energies. So when we understand what we are at our core, it helps us understand what we're most aligned, who we're most aligned with, and what we actually present to the table. And it's a big part of our purpose. And that's why, if you haven't yet checked out my course about creating a business around your actual gifts, there is a link below. But one of the things that sometimes people miss is they're just so focused in, as I said, lumping certain things together, or what they think is, well, these are the stuff that I love to do, or these are the things I think all my clients want, and just bundle them. They don't sometimes gel together. And obviously, if you're a holistic practitioner or a healer, you have to be careful what you're bundling together, because sometimes one therapy is enough for a client. 2 or 3 can be energetic overload and can actually be kind of almost, they don't flow together, they don't work together, it's too much for the client, and it means that they really have a bad healing crisis. Sometimes it's quite an extreme healing crisis because it's like a kind of almost an overload. So it's really it's really careful, it's really important to do that. But for example, if you are, which a lot of people are, that want to offer packages that are going to help people feel more relaxed, more soothed. And let's go to things that even are away from, even though this video will be going out to some of my students that do stress management and relaxation. I want to move an area that's quite easy to think about. So someone has more a beauty clinic. The reality is people are coming to that beauty clinic often for superficial reasons, right? It's very different from sometimes they would go for spiritual work, which is deeper, right? And even though people will come to a beauty clinic and maybe a beauty clinic's offering some therapies, people tend to still be attracted to these things. There's something at a superficial level. So they come to maybe, feel more glamorous, look more glamorous, and sometimes that's a regular thing. Someone who is very, takes a lot, invests in a lot in their appearance, or it could be someone maybe it's a special occasion, someone's going to a wedding or a fancy, something, a nice event, all these things, but there is a level of it's got a different energetic feel to it. So when you understand what the client wants to experience, and again, every business is different. I mean, I'm generalizing, but you know, we all have different types of businesses and different types of clients, and it's really important to understand where your clients are. So if you decided you were going to do some sort of spa package, right, a beauty package, again, you want to think, well, what would my client want? What would they love a day where they get top to toe? They want to experience a day where they get everything done and they come out feeling like a new person. That's how you've got to think. You've got to think, well, what would my client love to experience? And that is, and can I give them that, right? Or what can I give them that they would love, right? And it's also making sure that your business is already aligned with your core values and is already aligned with what you find more natural. Now, what's happening at the moment is people are awakening more and consciousness is changing. A lot of people are actually finding that some of the things in their businesses that they feel are superficial or just not aligned with them anymore. So they're slowly, letting go or trying to move and change their business slightly. Now, the problem that can happen in that process is that previous clients that you aligned with or they aligned with you may no longer align with some of the things that you're moving towards. And you can have a transition period. So, it's really, really important to trust your intuition and when you're guided and what you feel is really, really important. And that can go through, that can cause sometimes uncomfortable stages where sometimes clients get a wee bit annoyed because you're just not serving them the way that they want anymore. They're wanting you to provide services that align with where they're at, not where you're at anymore. And this is really, really important. And I know as someone who's a caregiver who has throughout my life has had strong rescue traits, I have to be careful of that as well because, sometimes I can see, there's certain things I know that my mission is to do certain things at the moment and I need to step up into that mission. But there's other things I can help lots of people with. And sometimes I get asked, and sometimes people are just looking for you to fit in to what they want and what suits them for their needs and or even their demands sometimes. When you have to, in your business, move where you've been guided. If you're totally a spiritual business or a business that feels that you're drawn towards a more soul-aligned business, it's about where your soul wants you to go and where you've been guided to go. So it can face a transition period. Now, as you've been soul and get soul-led, sometimes, some people find that they go through phases and they don't really know where that other step or that other part's going to be. It's almost like they're going through a door. They feel as if they're going through a door and they don't know what is at the other end of that door. Where some of us, we've been doing the work so long, it's just like another gradual step. You kind of know or you sense what the next step is or have an idea of it, but it's still built on a lot of foundations that's already there. It just might open up something new, but that in that newness, you're bringing aspects of you and more of your authenticity into that, right? And that is why I always say to people, when you understand your archetype and you understand the archetypes of your business, which can change as you evolve, it is easier to create a more soul-aligned business and create packages, create courses and products that are aligned with your values and your audience. Because that is almost like your essence is in it. A lot of people are just still stuck in this 3-day way of building businesses, and we all do it to different degrees. I mean, I still sometimes find myself doing things and I think, no, I can't, what am I doing? It's habit, it's conditioning, it's programming, and we all can fall into it. But the reality is that when you're creating packages, you know, for example, the seeker archetype is an explorer archetype are all about, well, the seeker is looking for something, it's seeking something, and during that seeking period it explores. And that's why the seeker and explorer archetype is kind of classed as the one archetype in relation to business and branding for many things. It's that they are going on adventure. So a seeker in a spiritual sense is seeking an adventure to find oneself, to find what the universe is about, to find, you know, what is life about, that kind of thing. Where the, you know, the when we look at an explorer archetype, it's maybe not to do with spirituality, but they want to go on adventure in the world. It's still an aspect of discovery, right? And they're seeking discovery and looking at things, but they're often going on adventure because they're actually seeking themselves. Now, if you serve a seeking audience, an explorative audience, that is a completely different product and service from, for example, it may be a caregiver session where you know, an archetype where business, which is all about, in a way, there's a protection, there's a nurturing, there's a comforting, there's an empowerment, there's a support, it's a supportive energy. Now, for example, so one of the archetypes that I've started to own more in my own business, and a lot of light workers, particularly experienced light workers and healers and teachers are experiencing this, is more of the kind of leadership more area, even though we really didn't expect to own more of that. We are more of that. As our power is building up, as our soul power is increasing, as our channel is getting clearer, as we do more and more work, and as we evolve and grow as souls and learn, we all have, really challenging experiences in our life. And I believe a lot of these challenges are initiations to different levels, and they help us. It's almost like it's a test to see how we're going to move through and how we can pivot through these things. And some of it, we get stuck at certain stages, and some things we kind of blocks about. But as we evolve and grow, we move through what we call the hero's journey, the archetypal journey. And even though we all can have certain archetypes at our core essence that make us who we are and make us, where our gifts are, we do also have, we go through these archetypal patterns. It's like a pathway, which is part of growing up. And it is like a cycle, because sometimes you go through certain things and you really have a lesson and you go through the full hero's journey, but then there might be another area in life where you've got to go through that cycle again. But the reality is, even though we go through that, and that helps the soul awaken to more of who you truly are at your authenticity, help you see past the programming and conditioning. The essence of who you are is always there. Sometimes it's just we get clearer as we work through things, and you start to see more of your gifts and your power. But the reality is that no matter what modalities that you're taught, right, and even though you want to maybe include certain in your packages, you have to look at it. What is the result? What are they going to get? And do they flow together? And is it, how can I tie it up? It's almost like tying it up my bow. How can, as I present it as a gift to that client in a way that aligns, that they understand what they're offering, but it feels aligned with their dreams and their wishes, right? So if we go back to the beauty clinic, someone feels and they want to have a package where they feel coming out like a different person. I'll say they're not a different person, but they want to feel, or they want to feel more like themselves. Maybe they feel as if, because they're so worn down and exhausted, they feel as if, they've not been taking care of themselves, right? That is what you're packaging. You're packaging that to help them feel more like themselves, right? And to feel rested and rejuvenated and to feel beautiful and to look more beautiful in relation to, obviously it's superficial, but that's the element. Now, if you're offering a package that is some sort of de-stress package, again, you know, what you're going to do is make sure that that package is all about de-stress. You're very specific that that's what it is. It's all about de-stressing. You know, and you're keeping to that theme. If you've got another package and you wanted an intuitive package, a package where you explore aspects of them and their intuition, their inner guidance, or whatever it is, it's going to be completely different. So that the result is about them feeling more intuitive or getting more guidance. That is completely different from a de-stress package. So it's be very clear about the results, because sometimes what happens, some people try and put too many results in the one package. Now that's different. Like if you're running a program, for example, I'm running a 10-week program that is a class that is teaching people about spiritual development, going to expand on things like quantum tools, quantum stillness, quantum things that to do with can help with quantum manifestation. But a lot of things more about like intuition and energy awareness and discernment and tools that can build up your soul power, your soul connection, things like that. Now, that course has lots of other benefits. It's mostly about building a connection with your soul and building up your spiritual discernment and energetic and intuitive awareness. But it has other benefits. But that's a full, 10-week program, quite an intensive 2-week, 10-week program. But obviously, if someone is coming for an afternoon relaxation, you're not going to be able to combine certain things. And, you have to think one focus of a package is you have to focus on the main thing and be honest about what you're including in the package. Are you just throwing things in for the sake of throwing in? Does it actually align and flow? Is it important for that package, or are you just doing it to try and add extra value? Sometimes people just add things to try and make it add value, but it can actually stick out like a sore thumb. So also it's really important, when you're putting in extra things, does it align with your business's core values, and is it something that you're really good at as well? Again, sometimes people can do really good things in a package and then add something else just to think, and if they make a mess of that thing because they're not really good at it, it actually wastes the full package. And I'll give you an example. I remember investing in a package, and it was I can't remember what it wasn't a soul plan. I can't remember what it was, because I've had that before, but it was to do with certain guidance and looking aspects of your past and your purpose and different levels to it. And your soul, it was like your soul plan. I can't remember what it's called. And the woman, she was new. Well, she had been studying for I think a year or two, but she was quite new. So it was a kind of the package compared to what she was wanting to charge, it was at a discount. And she had said she was going to combine it as part of this package with like a business. It was like almost like a intuitive business kind of thing. And it was very clear when she'd done the first one, I really felt that a lot of things that she was saying was very accurate and it was really useful. But the second one was a complete disaster. She clearly didn't really know what she was doing and had just tried to do this, and actually she'd done a lot of things that really had me question my reality. And it was very clear that she was just kind of guessing. And then weeks later, for a variety of reasons, she said something, and it was clear she was not using intuition, not doing certain things, and she was not using the same process she had done with the first one. She was doing all this kind of which probability, which blew me away. So it was clear she didn't really either have training in the second one, and these things, it's not to do with training. You have to be, you have to be really good at these type of things and know what you're doing. It's not just about you know, you have to have gifts in these things if you're doing things to do with accuracy. But to me, it almost felt like that wasn't, she was stretching herself to try do something that she didn't really, it was not her forte for whatever reason. But when she explained to me that she had took another different approach, I couldn't understand that. And this is just an example of someone can throw something in a package to make it more, and sometimes that's just to get more money, but it does not serve the client, and it can end up making the client doubt what you're and can taint the package. So really be careful that you're not just adding anything into the package. So for example, if you're trained in lots of things and there's a couple of things you're not really that good at, be careful about just throwing it into a package, right? And it's not just about what you're well trained in. Does it look right in the package, or does it look a bit odd? Does it look as if you're just throwing anything and everything? Is it going to be relevant to that client, or does it just look a mixture of things? That you've got to really, really be careful. Now, for students that are on MAD relaxation training, for example, there's lots of things because you have been able to get so many tools and techniques. There is so many things you can do just within the relaxation. You don't even have to call it. You could call it some sort of de-stress package. You could come with a lot better names than that, you know. Again, it depends on, don't like, you know, saying exactly kind of ideas specifically, because every business is different in relation to their archetype, their strengths. But, you know, Adette, that a lot of you will know on the course, is, you know, some of the ideas that she's come out with her business, and they're unique. This is not about anybody taking her ideas. Adette is really been able to put her slant on some of her work and her interests and what aspects, because she's done other courses like most of you, what is her passion and the things that she really enjoys, right? But if you look at even her tea ceremonies, that's Adette. She's bringing her to the table. She's bringing a lot of qualities that are even from her past occupation, right? And I'm not saying too much there, but there is things that you can tell she's bringing her own energy and an authenticity and uniqueness to what it is. And, you know, what you've got to be careful is lots of people today just copy what other people do. And talked about this recently as well. Like years ago, I hired a admin who was basically taking a lot of things that I was writing and doing, and she was not even realising it was doing it for then other people, putting the same words, the same terminology, the same taglines in her own work and whatever. And it looked like copycatting. Now, she didn't realise she was doing it. And there's so much stuff out there, it can be very easy for us to lose our own authenticity. And that's why it's a good idea to step away from other people's ideas and to think, right, what is me? What do I love? What is really important to me? What am I honestly really good at? Right? That I know that I can knock the socks off, right? What can I do really well? And you bring those qualities into your business and into your packages. So, for example, if you're someone that's naturally a romantic archetype, and many beauty therapists have this, they're very into the small detail. So they know how to make sure, you know, a room has the right look, the right scent, the right smell. They also, and maybe, like I've got a friend who's a very romantic archetype, so she's always got goodies to taste, as well as, she takes aesthetics very seriously, all these type of things, right? Now, if you want to bring that in and showcase that and experience. So your business is about a romantic's archetype's business is about experience. A sage business's archetype is about knowledge and education and learning and teaching and helping people to also question things, right? If you are not a sage archetype and you don't let your clients question things and have an open mind, there's something wrong, because a sage archetype is teaching us about education, is about looking at the bigger picture, right? Try to think what else. An entertainer archetype. An archetype is also about experience. Now, again, I've had past clients and students who've got some of that entertainer sister, who's I would say is definitely an entertainer archetype, and they're great at having a party, creating a party atmosphere, creating, again, its experience. Try to think what else one. The creator, the artist archetype, it is about inspiring people of creativity, tapping into that. One of the things about an artist is they either inspire beauty or innovation or new ideas, right? Inspire something new. So, someone that is creative creates a creative experience where people get to be creative and to inspire new things, right? So someone is creative will help people tap into their creativity, and the package should be about helping people have some self-expression, and right? So you're getting the idea. So if you go back to your basics of who you are and you create a package around who you are, it makes it easier. Now, if you're a caregiver, if you're a strong nurturer, your package is about nurturing. It can involve different things, but if you have a clinic, for example, you will find it very, very easy to put people at ease and to help them feel nurtured, supported, and cared for. So your packaging should be the packages should be nurturing packages. For example, a soft rose nurturing package or something like that, No, that sounds a wee bit, but that's the kind of thing. Now, if you are a leader archetype and you're very much about leading other people and empowering others, a leader is someone who has a certain level of success and already achieved a certain amount of things, and is then leading other people, helping people up the ladder, like where they are, or helping them even beyond them. But they have to, when they're starting out, a leader is not helping other leaders that have achieved more than them. They're helping other people up the ladder. So the leader archetype, if it was coaching packages, and it's, stress management, and you were want to do some sort of package for CEOs or managers, what are they motivated by? Of course, they may want to de-stress and relax and manage stress, but the reality, no matter if we like it or not, it's like a hidden agenda. Their motives are, they just want better productivity. They maybe want a more balanced life. They may want more focus and clarity, right? And confidence. They want to be, I feel the last thing a CEO or a manager or a leader wants to do is look chaotic, look overwhelmed, look as if they can't cope. So a package that is about de-stress, but it is about helping them become more calm and focused. That is what they want. You have to understand what they want and what you definitely can provide. And sometimes what can happen is people try to imply that they can give them something more than what they can in that small package. So be careful what you're promising. There's only so much you can give somebody in a 3-hour package that's going to be completely life-changing compared to something like a year's package, like a year's intensive in something, right? So it depends on what level you're working. Obviously, like, a lot of healing modalities, therapy modalities are getting people off base level. Even stress management and relaxation is often just getting people into base level to start to become more self-responsible for their own stuff and to take action. It's part of the process, right? It's almost at the beginning of the ladder. So it depends what other things that you're doing and other work you're doing. So you've also got to gauge where your audience is. Now, one of the things that I have been thinking about offering more of, because I am offering it in some level, I've just not packaged something this way, is actually offering more spiritual stress coaching to more people that are like the CEOs and people who are becoming awakened and want to bring more spirituality and do things in a more soul aligned way in their company and their organization. But that is obviously that type of odd, there may be someone who's already been meditating for 10, 20, 30 years, but maybe haven't done as much, maybe deeper work as what I've done, and realize that they need to start going deeper, right? And they really want to create change, and they're in a position that they can. So that's going to be a very different type of audience than someone who just wants to learn certain things for themselves. And this is why it's really, really important. You've got to understand who your audience is, what is your greatest skills, what can you definitely do, what can you do, and what are you proven over and over again that you get the results in? Because one of the things that's just reality is that you don't know what you're really good at until you have enough experience. And that's why, the more case studies I always say to students, even though I give not very, you don't have many in my, in my relaxation training, because it's the type of training and the way that I do things, because I do things a certain way, so that you get, you get a lot of insight in different things. But there is some types of, a lot of training that I've done, to do like hundreds and hundreds of hours in, CPD, like, sorry, in case studies and things, and extra CPD with clients. And one of the things that you don't really know what is your area of expertise sometimes in some things until you've unfortunately worked with lots and lots of clients. And I'll give you an example. So I remember, like, when I first started Reiki, like, most of my family and my relatives and things, even at the time, my health wasn't that great. And then my health started to decline. But lots of people, because they didn't know anybody else that was a healer, were just coming and asking me to, for healing. And I'd done it as a gift or on some sort of exchange. Usually people brought me plants. So they brought biscuits to, I stayed with my parents at this time. But anyway, it was this kind of thing. It was just simple exchange. But when I did that, I did certain things, and, there were certain things you could see were helpful. But when I actually started doing it as a professional business, one of the things that seemed to have really good, really quick results was disc issues. Don't know why. And I never really thought about it too much. I didn't get too attached. I kind of think, with my own personal experience, I never really get too attached to people's results or looked into it too much in that way that I was attached. And I think it was just to do a lot of the experiences that I had to really humble me and make me look at things in a different way. But one of the things was, it made me, I was curious, in one level, because I was seeing all these people and we just, and most of them were very surprised. And I remember one man, he was told he had to get quite a serious operation, and he was, the poor man, you could tell, I mean, he had the drugs he was on, and he had two calipers and struggling to get in, with a whole problem even trying to get him on the bed. And he only needed to come to me twice. And I remember he phoned me after the second appointment and said, honestly, don't think I need to come back. And I think it was about 6 or 8 weeks, he phoned me again and he said, I don't have any pain. I can't believe it. And I had a spate of that, but that didn't mean that I automatically thought that that's what was going to happen with every client. I wasn't that naive, and I wasn't that in my ego to think that. But sometimes healers and therapists can think that, and sometimes also training schools can see things that they do from their egoic perspective, or just from marketing purposes, just so that people will train with them, or it's a projection and there's not always honesty, and sometimes also you've got to look at things, most there was two clients that I knew, for example, didn't do anything else when they worked with me, but other clients can do other things. So you don't know, is it that what you've done, or is it something else? You never know. We don't have the bigger picture, and it's nothing to do with us. It's, it's the healing, whatever's going on. It may be the right timing and whatever. But obviously, running a business, you still have to have some element of, when you're doing something, what are the results they're going to get? Well, if you're doing, if you learn relaxation therapy, the client feels relaxed, and if you have a client, and one of the things in my relaxation training is I teach you enough techniques that even if there is clients with serious challenges and lots of things going on, that as long as you're focusing on the right clients and and marketing to the right clients, you will be able to help those clients feel relaxed after that session, even that first session, if you have studied and practiced it yourself, and you know what to do because you're given enough techniques in different scenarios, right? That's an example. So even helping the client, saying you're going to feel really deeply relaxed and more rested, and have tools, because the relaxation therapy is about teaching tools. Now, some packages, as I said, are just experiential. If you're giving someone a massage or you're giving them a Reiki, they're not doing anything. They're not doing, okay, they're allowing you to help support them healing, but they're actually being passive. So it's an experience. So they're coming for the experience. They're not coming to be in a conscious level to, how could you say, there's a different aspect of being a participant and doing things to help your health and doing things on a daily basis and actually being on the receiving end. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong. We've all get sometimes therapies to help us, and there's reasons why that can be really helpful. But what I mean, it's a different thing. So what the client is, they're not having to do anything. They're just lying there. So that is an experience. So their experience feeling more relaxed, but they're not actually doing anything to be relaxed, if that makes sense. So it's a different type of thing. So in that scenario, you're saying, you're telling them they don't really have to do the work, they just sit back and you'll help them feel relaxed. So they can just switch off and they don't feel the need to do the work. And who's that good for? Well, sometimes that's for people that are really overwhelmed and have so much, and they may be trying to help themselves, but sometimes they just need a break because they're trying so hard. That's a type of client. Or people that are just at the beginning of the journey and are starting to move towards self-empowerment, self-responsibility, and holistic. The physical therapies where a therapist does it for someone is a good start off. It's often the beginning of the journey towards people taking self-responsibility. It's almost just at the dipping their toe. So, but at the end of the day, they're still expecting someone else to do it for it. Now, I'm not saying, we put our shoulder out. Obviously, a lot of us can't put our shoulder back in. We all, I'm just like everyone else. I have physical therapies and do it for, I'm always putting my hip out and I always do all sorts of things. So sometimes we need that help. But it's important to understand what is it you're actually providing, being very, very crystal clear and making sure that your package is very crystal clear what it provides. And I said, don't try and put lots of things that are all different, that have actually all different solutions in the one package. If you have lots of relaxing things and soothing things, put that in the one package. If it's empowering things, try and put them in the one package. Now, I'm not saying that you can't put maybe one or two things in, but make sure they flow. And then you want to package it and call it something that embodies what that solution is. And again, is aligned with your business, doesn't sound out, completely is aligned with your brand. So this is really important to know. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this one video. If you need any more help or you would like to check out my resources, check out spiritualmarketingclub.com. Okay, bye-bye for now.